Dr. Robert Seferian is Norwalk's Teacher of the Year, and he is a candidate in the 2018 Connecticut Teacher of the Year selection process as a result. To be considered as a nominee, educators were first nominated by their peers for the Norwalk Education and Excellence in Education Awards that many of you attended in May. And this was based upon input from parents, community members, school governance councils, and among those that were selected for the Education Excellence Awards, people could come from that level to apply for the Teacher of the Year designation. You know, I know that there has been, this is our first year in the Teacher of the Year program, and unlike other school districts, we've not had a Teacher of the Year in the past, and I think there was sensitivity around the fact that, you know, you nominate someone, you say they're like the best person in the world, right? The best person in the school district, and there are, you know, 100 other people who are just as good, working just as hard, doing just as much. But that's not how we look at it. That's not the nature of the Teacher of the Year. When we select the Teacher of the Year, it's someone that represents us and represents all of us that are trying to do important things in our school system and stepping up and working hard and setting an example. So our Teacher of the Year is representative of the best of us and the efforts that we are making at any given time. They represent us to the state. Dr. Seferian has worked with special needs students throughout his 30-year tenure with Norwalk Public Schools. He led what was a groundbreaking initiative in special ed. He was several years ago, he was the first teacher to push in special education services in the district. He was nominated by the Rowton School Governance Council. He has worked with team members to launch Encore. He's been an integral part of middle school redesign at Rowton, and has been a leader in his field. He has 30 years experience. And so when we look to someone to represent us, you know, he is an experienced staff member, like many of you. We have one of the most experienced staffs in the state. He has been integral in middle school redesign. He is leading in an area, special education, that we are striving to improve as a district. He represents the best of all of us. Please welcome Dr. Robert Seferian.
Well, the room sure filled up a little bit since the last time I looked, that's for sure. This is the largest class I've ever stood in front of. Dr. Adamowski, honored guests, administrators, and my fellow educators, I stand before you humbly and grateful and honored to be selected as Norwalk's Teacher of the Year. Thank you very much. There are so many people I'd like to thank, and as Mr. Vellucci always says, as soon as you start thanking a few people, you get in trouble, so I plan on getting in trouble. But I'd like to thank God above, the selection committee, my wife Bonnie, my parents, all the scores of related service people that I've worked with over the years, and especially my special ed partner for the past 30 years, Diana Mazzello. And of course, she's the greatest. And of course, the captain of our ship over at Rowton Middle School, Joe Vellucci. Thank you all for all that you've done for me over the years. Let me begin with a story that my pastor, former Norwalk Public Schools teacher Greg Saunders, has told. Researchers were conducting an experiment on child behavior, and they set up 2 rooms. In the first, they placed every toy and game they could find. And they put a young lad into the room, and they observed. The boy looked around the room, and all of a sudden he began to cry. Upon questioning, he told the researchers, I looked around the room and saw all these great toys, and I just knew that if I played with them, I'd break them, and you'd take them away, and it was all so terrible. Yeah. So in the second room, there were bare walls, bare shelves, and the floor was covered hip deep in horse manure. The subject, another young boy, was brought into the room, and immediately he starts jumping around, tunneling through. He's having a great time. So, curious, the researchers asked him what he was doing. And the boy responded, with all this horse maneuver in here, there's bound to be a pony somewhere. So, you see, what I'm going to talk about today is attitude. Now, I'm not talking about the attitude that an 8th grader will give you when you ask him just about anything, but the idea is that I believe that the key to successful teaching is in your attitude, okay? First, I believe we have to develop an understanding attitude, and this comes in 2 parts. We must understand our subject matter from top to bottom. We have to be able to answer any questions that arise and inspire our students to ask questions of us and of each other. The second part of the understanding attitude is the ability to understand our students. We have to understand that at any time in our classroom, there could be students who are hungry, angry, lonely, tired, sick, emotionally stressed, heartbroken, or just plain scared. We have to understand that our natural resource isn't wood or metal. It's human. And it's our duty to understand our audience and discover their strengths. So if we thoroughly understand our curriculum and our audience, then our students will succeed. Next, we have to have an attitude of compassion and love. Author and educator Leo Buscaglia wrote, "Too often we underestimate the power of a smile, a kind word, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around." Once we understand our audience, we must adjust our teaching to meet the needs of our students. So, if we have the attitude of compassion and love, then our students will succeed. And finally, the last attitude that I'll speak of today is the attitude of collegiality. As a special educator, it's been part of my job to collaborate. And I want you to think about that old well-known Nigerian proverb that says, it takes a whole village to raise a child. Well, I want to borrow from that. And I want to say that it takes an entire school community to educate a child. Reach out with the attitude of collegiality, and our students will succeed. In conclusion, I'd like to leave you with a quote from Hall of Fame coach Lou Holtz, who said, "Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do, and attitude determines how well you do it." So with that in mind, later today, as you enter your rooms and look down at the floors with those fluorescent lights reflecting off that freshly waxed surface, you know what I mean? This is every year. I want you to shut your eyes and imagine those floors covered hip deep with horse manure. And then find the pony. Try to find that pony every day, and our students will succeed.